Welcome to the room. Welcome to the room. I'm gonna do this like ASMR. Come on in, children. Come on in. We're talking about something beautiful this evening. We are discussing a love story. We are discussing one of the most sensitive, vulnerable, romantic, soft love stories I've seen in a long time. Get in the room. Don't worry, I'll wait. I want to welcome you guys to the dissection of If Beale Street Could Talk. I'm your host, JustLatasha, and we are going to learn tonight. And you know what? I don't even have like a lot of slides, or I don't even have like so much to teach, but it's just conversations that's going to happen tonight. It's color theory as usual that's going to happen tonight. And we're just going to look at like a really difficult conversation wrapped in the love of love and the love of Black folk. You know, Beyonce and Beachella was like, it's the love of the struggle, like not just the high parts, but it's the love of the struggle. Now we don't love no racism. That's not what I'm saying, but we are here to celebrate. All right. I do see y'all in the chat. What is up to y'all? Shout out to A Barty, always the first in the room, first to comment. Shout out to you. I see some incredible patrons in here. I see some people that just love to come on in a Monday night. I love y'all just the same. Thank you so much for being here. Please follow me on social media if you guys are not doing that as of yet. I am on JustLatasha. I am on JustLatasha. I am on Instagram at JustLatasha. I'm on Twitter at JustLatasha404. JustLatasha.com if you want to see the collection of my work. Go ahead and do that. Welcome to the Dissection series. We do this live every Monday night at 6 p.m. EST. Wherever you are, thank you for being here. I'm preparing to give you guys some great comedy content. JustLatasha's Interactions, the sketch comedy show. We got Dustin Ross of the Friend Zone in the show. We got Mandy B of Horrible Decisions in the show. We have Jameer Pond of Cocoa Butter. See him on Instagram doing all his wellness talks. These are my dear friends joining me on this path. So keep up with the show on both Instagram and Twitter at Interactions, INNR Actions. And every Thursday, I will be here for a nice bite-sized content. Shout out to my series Piece of Script. We do some good things over there, But this Thursday is Thanksgiving here in the States. So no piece of script this week, okay? But I will be back next Monday after this glorious holiday. Eat until your bellies are full. Social distance, wear your mask. Do not go around Mima. If you just went out in the club down in Atlanta, don't go around grandma. You see how you ruined that? Let me see who we got in here. We got Zemara as a patron. We got Young Royalty Production. Shout out to you, Jaleese, a patron. Hello, Laura, the Shy Podcast. Hi, CJ, who's a patron. Pink is blah. Aaron's here. A Barty, who already shouted you out, was a patron right there. LB is a patron. Kalovna, my baby, is here. Shout out to Asia from Brooklyn. All right, we're doing it. We are doing it, okay? Shout out to y'all. Let's get started. I don't want to waste no more time. I don't want to waste y'all time. I don't want to waste mine. Let's do it, all right? If Beale Street Could Talk, the dissection. You guys are going to see me winking weird because my eyes are very sensitive, and whenever I put this ring light on, it's a wrap. So we're just going to collectively ignore that together. But I will be making some funny ass faces. Hi, Ayana. I see you in here, baby. All right, let's do it. If Beale Street Could Talk, a young woman embraces her pregnancy while she and her family set out to prove her childhood friend and lover is innocent of a crime he didn't commit. Let me tell you something. When I saw this trailer, I went to the theaters with my friend to see some BS. And we saw the trailer of this movie for the first time. And if y'all know me, I do not do the heavy dramas. I'm sorry. I've tapped out of This Is Us. I cannot watch Underground. I can't do the heavy, traumatic Black trauma stories, right? But something that the director and writer Barry Jenkins did, And I judged it wrong in the trailer. I was like, this dramatic as hell. Just have the baby girl. But Barry Jenkins does something that he did it in Moonlight too, where even though he's telling a story of heartbreak and trauma and oppression, he does it so gently. Like he does it with the priority of love for Black people. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I mean? So, oh my gosh, this ring light is killing me. Oh, we're going to get through it though. Woo! Writer, director Barry Jenkins, the Oscar-winning Barry Jenkins, based on the James Baldwin novel by the same title in 1974, starring Kiki Lane, Stephen James, and of course the God, literally and figuratively, the God, Regina King, who became Dr. Manhattan in HBO's Watchmen. We need that season 2 while y'all playing, all right? Opening shot with a quote from James Baldwin himself. This is an observation and a love letter to Black culture. Beale Street is the larger conversation of what happens to any Black American. The art that oppression creates, the culture that it's created for displaced Africans, as we're often monikered. Beale Street is the language of how we move anywhere because of the soil that America has birthed of us, okay? This shows the highs and lows of Blackness and how love in all forms makes this experience all worth it. Thank you guys for throwing heart tip in the chat. I see y'all up in this love room. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it is. I see Damien has joined us. Shout out to Trini Boy. Hi, Dak Kez. And here's what happens in this film that I really love. And a lot of directors try to emulate this, but Barry Jenkins got a different texture to it. It's good. He does these stunning portraits, these Black and white portraits, or these random freeze frames, or these nearly still motion video portraits of the characters where they're staring right into the camera. And it's so beautiful. And he paints this high of being in love and having your person and finding your soulmate compared against the Black experience, the Black American experience of living in a cage of drugs and imprisonment and police brutality and racism. And the story seamlessly threads love in between the costs of being Black. A master storyteller, a master director that we're dealing with tonight. Okay, let's meet our couple. Fonny and Tish. This couple right here that we are following for this dissection will attempt to love each other through the incredibly challenging odds. And throughout the film, they often state to each other, Fonny said it first, and I like that, be about that leadership. They belong to each other. Ooh, I belong to you. How do we see this here? Starting right here with one of the few opening shots, and we're going to stay in this sequence for a little bit. The color theme set right here. Fonny dressed in yellow, but belonging to Tish, so he's covered in blue. Yellow is his family's color. And we have Tish dressed in blue because that's her family's color, but she belongs to Fonny, so she topped that in yellow. And what'll happen when you put blue and yellow together, baby? What'll happen when you put that blue and yellow together? Who's the baby who got the color wrong last week? Because they're right tonight. I think last week we were dissecting, I was like, what does blue and red make? And they were like, green. I was like, no, baby. But tonight they're right, okay? The color themes between these two, the yellow and blue, would make green. As we see, they're walking along greenery because what? They are building a life together. He's from this side, she's from this side. You put them together and we're walking on the same journey. All of this that you can see without a character speaking yet. All right. What's up, Khaled? A patron right here. Khaled says it's the coordination for me. So this is what we're doing. And then something happens as they're walking on this path together. As the movie opens up, they separate. Tish steps away from Fonny. The city is right behind her. This huge open world is behind her. But Fonny remains in front of this enclosed brick structure. alluding, foreshadowing him to the split between the couple, and he will have to be elsewhere. Let's see where he goes. We can see it from the park right into this next sequence where he does get locked up. He's entrapped in this jail, right? And Tish, before we get into this jail sequence, says, I hope nobody has to look at anybody they love through glass. Look at them in the park, how the park already separates them, foreshadowing that separation where this is how she has to visit the love of her life. Now I'm gonna jump in the chat because I already hooked y'all up with the information, so I'm sure y'all gonna know right here and right now. I'm gonna ask y'all, the audience question. In this scene, Tish is telling Fonny that she's pregnant. And she's wearing green, while he is wearing blue in front of a yellow wall. So we know why she's wearing green. Why is she wearing green? Because I didn't said it in the scene before. A Barcy says, it's a lot of yellow in this movie. Yep, and we're going to talk about it. We are absolutely going to talk about it. What's up, Pink is blah. Hi, Harriel. Harriel asks, is it a struggle love movie? You're damn right. Yep. But a story of beautifully struggling to love and access each other. A Barty guessed the green is for fertility. CJ says living for the both of them. Trini Boy says they're two colors coming together in a new life. Exactly right. Their families are now one. It's official. We have joined journeys. Our families are now one. And because she is carrying his son, she wears green. You are officially a part of me. And yes, and we do like that fertility answer as well. Perfect, y'all. Perfect. I personally have a theory. Y'all can go off in the chat about what your personal theories are about why Fonny is in front of yellow, particularly here and now. I believe, and this is because I've seen the entirety of the movie. I believe he's in front of this yellow wall in jail because his home has switched from Tish to this imprisonment. He has found a home in the love of his life, and now by force, his home must be this jail space. Go off in the chat if you feel there's another reason why he might be constantly shot in front of this yellow. Nothing's wrong in here. We know that. Nothing is wrong in here. I want to go here. I want to go here. Soulmates from childhood. Fonny has been a childhood friend who was always welcome in Tish's home, right? And we see that the home covered in blue, that's Tish's family's color, with dashes of yellow because Fonny is always welcome here. And since they are soulmates, they have that dash of green. We see that green soap behind them, right? Y'all didn't even know y'all was on the same track from before y'all even claimed it. Beautiful, beautiful. These children being soulmates, void of the romance and adult versions of love that will later come to see them. So we have their, and Tish says, we never had any curiosity concerning each other's bodies. It just, what he existed, I existed, and we were just two peas in a pod. That's green. So we have these white bubbles. We have the two children dressed in white in this very neutral, safe, open space. They just exist. While all of these other forces are combining them together. Hi, Sarai. It's glorious. So let's get back into their families. Again, leaning into this color theme. Fonny's fam, you can see with, what is her name? Anjanae Ellis, Hippolyta. Fonny's family dressed in yellow, and they are anti-pregnancy. They do not see it for Tish and her fast ass corrupting the word of God. versus Tish's family, who is blue, and they are totally supportive and 110% behind their daughter and their sister. And these two families come to a major head about this moment. The baby's here. Get with it or get lost. And what did Fonny's family do? We ain't never seen them again. They got the fuck ASAP. Okay? They got the fuck ASAP. See what y'all saying here in the chat, because y'all going off. Thank you, Pink as well. Young Royalty Production says his physical home, Fonny's physical home may be the prison, but his heart and spirit are always still hers. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Callie, you spotted it, that Irish Spring soap. Oh, let me tell you how bad Irish Spring done got me down before, okay? Hives all over, the itch is insatiable. Terrible soap. Don't ever, if you love yourself, Black folk, don't ever use that. Ooh, I will send you soap myself. Man, A. Barty says Hippolyta was annoying in this. So that's it. That is it. I want to talk specifically about the parents real quick, because each parent matches, each parent aligns lovingly with the other family member. So here we have Tish discovering that Fonny is in love with her for the first time. He gives her mother a sculpture that he made by hand. This is his passion is to sculpt, literally handing her mother a piece of himself. And we see her accepting him as her own. She accepts this piece and she is dressed in green, surrounded by green. You are totally welcome to this family. It's almost like he's giving the mother his heart, right? Like, have this. I made this for you. Let's get to Fonny's father, who adores Tish. Dressed in brown, but he's a darker shade of yellow than the rest of the family, because he's the only one out of all of them who is thrilled by Tish having this baby. He's pro-pregnancy, unlike the rest of the family. And the brown that he's wearing, this darker yellow that he's wearing, matches Tish's outfit. They're aligned. And he separates himself from his own family to go ahead and support her in front of them. That energy, sir, that energy. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I ain't love him smacking Hippolyta now. You got to keep your hands to yourself. However, that energy, yes. Stand up for what's right. People have a hard time standing up for what's right. It's not that bad. Just do it. The fuck? So let's see where they start to get their struggle love on. Let's start to see where it starts to get a little hot in the kitchen. While trying to wine and dine and have a date. Remember dates, y'all? Remember being taken out by a good-looking man who just sat there in the park asking you what you want to do? Remember that? Clouded in red. There are so many wounds surrounding this love and the family that they're trying to create and maintain. Fonny's family is against the whole thing. He's a Black man in America in this time period. Tish is 19 with no money. Her family ain't got no money. He only 22. He don't know. He a cook. Everything possible. All these forces are setting them up to fail, trying to love each other through insurmountable odds. I just want to love you. How hard is that? Asia, I feel you. What's a day? What is it? We don't know. Let's make love real quick. Stephen James, I've been watching Stephen James and Kiki Lane kiss on each other for the past 6 hours. Let's talk about making love. Okay. The soulmates meet here again. This time, including, okay, the conditions have changed. This time, including romance, lust, them adult feelings, right? But they still the same babies that have loved each other since the tub. Dressed in white yet again to meet here as soulmates. You wasn't aware of my body before, but you see it now. You see that body, okay? And as adults, Fonny, not only do we see that body, he cares for it. He preps it. He switched the music on it. He honors her body. Soft. This love scene, and it was so slow, this sequence, before he even touched her, it was so slow. You had to stay in it, stay in the moment with them. I looked for him again on Twitter. He's not on Twitter. Okay. It ruined me. Let's talk about the jazz music in this movie as well, because the jazz music was just as much of a conversation and a storyteller as what we were actually seeing. The fact that he paused what he was doing to change the music because he had to set the vibe. Okay. The jazz music was speaking with this movie. The camera work, dancing with the characters. You're not staying still and watching them. It's putting you right into the world. Get close up on them, swirl around them, be far away from them. The camera adjusting you with what's going on in the story. Brilliant. Trini says Stephen James is fine as hell. That's it, y'all. I don't have the time. I truly don't have the time. So let's interrupt this story real quick. We have to meet what really heightens the disconnect between these soulmates. Let's meet Veronica Hunt and let's meet Officer Bell. Veronica accuses Fonny of sexual assault at the encouragement and the leadership of Officer Bell. Fonny is falsely arrested because Veronica picked him up out of a lineup. All the evidence that would point to Fonny being the assaulter don't add up. It's all false. It's all illogical. It don't make sense. Y'all said he was uptown, but you went to go pick him up downtown when he was in a house. None of the evidence is pointing to Fonny, but Officer Bell is the one who picked up Fonny, brought him in, put him in the lineup, and encouraged Veronica to choose him. What we discover later in the movie is that Officer Bell had a personal vendetta against Fonny because he didn't like the way he met him. So for this instance, he went back to go get him. And what's really unfair for this family, this new family, is that it's up to the accused, Tish, Fonny, the families, to provide the correct evidence, pay for finding it, and conjuring all of this together to help get Fonny free. It's not even their job. Okay? So let's look at the colors. We see Officer Bell in the top left with this brick wall and this blue suit, yellowish tint on that brick wall. And then we see through this incident where he can control and input Fonny, right? With this yellow brick wall and this blue suit. Fonny is property of racism, of oppression, and the state. And we can see here all of the power dynamics that work together to conjure this moment, to make it happen intentionally, to curate this Black man going to jail. Curated. Now, here's what happens when you're a master storyteller, because my patrons know, they've heard me say it over and over. And if you join me for several dissections, you may have heard me say it a few times. But to leave the first act of a film, to give us all the characters, what their normal day world is like, and the moment that pushes us into a new experience, that's called an inciting incident. You give us such a big problem that our characters have to leave everything that they know. Usually that comes around 20 minutes, 25 minutes, but because Barry Jenkins is a master storyteller, he knows how to break the rules. This movie is like 2 hours long. So things are going to be slightly delayed. This incident, this meeting of Veronica Hunt doesn't come in until about 30 minutes in. and it's still perfect. It still works, okay? Their love is direly interrupted by Veronica's accusation. And they must figure out how to set Fonnie free and create a safe space for an incoming child. That's the mountain they have to climb. Because look, Trini Boy says, infuriating, yet it happens to Black men and women all the time. You know what I like? I like when we know that this happens to Black men and women. And I like when we know that, but we're focusing on, this is what Barry Jenkins did. He focused on Black men. He didn't omit Black women, which is where a lot of public speakers and artists and Black folk, visible Black folk, get wrong. They like to hyper focus. Well, this is what happens to Black men. Don't forget about the women. Barry Jenkins didn't forget about the women, but he is telling the story. You're not omitted, but he's telling the story for that of Black men. So now I can sit back and I'll support you in the story of Black men, because you won't forget us. We can just curve the conversation and focus on this here and now, but don't forget us. Like Trini Boy did not forget us. Thank you, AT Visuals. So we're meeting the lawyer who's representing Fonnie. And Tish and her mom on Fonnie's behalf go and meet him. And we can see here in the color story alone, but the yellow behind the lawyer, he is working on Fonnie's behalf. And Tish and mom are dressed in white and yellow, but mostly red, right? They're working for Fonnie, but they have this huge wound, not knowing how they're going to save this man and get him out of jail. And the lawyer has some bad news. Veronica fled the country. We don't know where she's at. Tish is a smart, sharp girl. She ain't even supposed to leave the country. You one of the key witnesses. How does she get to leave the country? Let's discuss power dynamics again. Even though Veronica is an immigrant, she's aligned with whiteness and money, okay? She had a family by a white man. He wanted to get rid of them and her, so he paid buku dollars to get her up out of here. Ain't nobody gonna question the white man. The state ain't gonna question this rich white man, okay? He has the power to not play by the rules. Here's the thing. Veronica, though an immigrant and actually assaulted, still had the power to frame Fonnie because she's aligned with this white officer who wants to take Fonnie down, whether or not it was true. Look at all these power shifts and these layers to these power dynamics going on, okay? And Officer Bell, though Fonnie was nowhere near the crime scene, tracked him down and personally brought him in. And he directs Veronica to say exactly what she has to say to bring Fonnie down. He instructs her on exactly what to report. I want to fight. Anybody else? I want to fight. Okay, put him up. I would like to engage you in a round of the fisticuffs. In America, this is what it's like in America. Let's meet one of my favorite actors. Okay? Brian Tyree Henry playing the role of Daniel Carty. Brian Tyree Henry is one of the most beautiful Black men I have ever seen. It's something about his vulnerability and like softness, but when he wants to turn gangster for a role, he can do it and get real gritty. It's called range. It's called having the range. We spend time with Tish, Fonnie, and Daniel the night in question of Veronica's case. Where was Fonnie at? Okay. Daniel was with Fonnie the night Veronica was assaulted. He was in the house. So who was uptown? But this is something that Barry Jenkins did, and he did this as well in Moonlight. I'm gonna show y'all the way these men exchange fire, exchange red. They exchange fire. Why? Daniel informs Fonny what his experience was like to be in jail for 2 years, and it put the utmost fear in him. We've met Daniel joyful, open, happy. We just want to eat and drink and smoke with his boy. He ain't seen his boy in a long time, but you bring up that memory of him in jail and he turns into a shell of a person, a shadow. That's where it hurts. You could tell he lost something there. And he's wearing this dark brown, almost disappearing into the scene, right? Becoming a shadow of himself from that experience. It's that dramatic. And this is the first time Fonny, outside of Tish, has someone else to like rely on and like give him that joy and have a moment with. And we're gonna talk about it a little bit later. Fonny, emotionally, he's got a lot on Tish. Tish is his everything. We're gonna talk about that a little later. So put a pin in it. We'll be right back. Audience question. We're right here again. Actually, we're here. I want to jump into the chat and talk to y'all because I want to hear what y'all have to say. Is Fonny in a codependent relationship? Is this relationship as healthy as it appears? And in this color scheme that I'm showing y'all right now, I'm going to break down my thoughts using color. But I want to hear from you guys first. You guys are going off about this scene with Brian. Brian Tyree Henry came in, did what he had to do, worked it at. Look at that joy on his face. And he can turn it in an instant. Amberly says, I thought we was really about to go to commercial. We ain't going to commercial. We right here. The way I'm going to get these sponsors though, speak that. Is Fonny in a codependent relationship? Is this relationship as healthy as it appears? CJ says probably not. It's beautiful, but CJ says probably not. What else do we feel? What else do we think in the chat? What we talking about? Chance says no, not really. What y'all say? LB says they seems a little enmeshed to me. The "you belong to me" part kind of disturbed me. Look, my next partner better say that to me. I don't know what L talking about. My next partner better say that to me. I'm yours. I belong to you. You damn right. Dakhead says it's so hard to say, but I really don't think so. Guys, and I may have led y'all here, which is my bad. I think this is a codependent relationship. I don't think, for Fonzie's sake, I don't think this is aligned well, okay? Nadira says they're young and have developed a sense of independence. Oh, yes, because they're on their way, yes. But here's the thing, and I'm just going to look at the color for a second. Fonny's in green, and we've all said that this is them joining their journeys. Fonny is spearheaded, focused on making he and Tish a family and creating that world for them, right? Covered in a brown jacket because we know where he's from. He's from the yellow colored family. Not skin tone, but like color theme tone. And in this, he's actually explaining to Daniel that he's trying to find a place for him and Tish to live. Right now, he's in this weird, lofty basement type thing. He want to get out of here and get a better spot for him and his girl, right? But look at Tish. Look at Tish. She's in blue, baby. Because the gag is this ain't her house and she's going home. Now, let me tell y'all something. Tish is a smart girl. Fonny is totally consumed in this relationship and he is going to provide, and this is what he wants. And sometimes in some moments of this film, especially the scene where he's actually shopping for a loft and talking her into this space and she's kind of like, I don't really know. This woman And this building of the family is what he wants. We have actually never seen him engage in the women in his family or in his family at all. But we've seen how crazy women in his family could get. We don't know if they're close or not. We can bank on that they're not. They never liked his girl, and his girl is the number one priority in his life. So we see what he's focused on. He finally has this one other person that, and this is the reason why Tish welcomes Daniel. Like, you're the only other person that outside of me that like he finally has someone to like let his hair down with. Yes, come on in, please have a beer. Shit. She's like, yes. But she's wearing that blue because she, outside of Fonnie, she has a very strong support system. He is not her everything. Okay. Face cracked. Britt says they are both going through it beneath the surface. Her mother is a good representation of that. The book goes into more detail. And Britt, I'm glad you said that, because the mother, as soon as we saw her, was wearing a ton of red. And I was like, what is her wound? What is her wound? What is her wound? But I guess maybe in the book, she is wounded and we can see more of that. But for the movie's sake, they had her character focus on Tish. But definitely wounded that I spoke like, yo, definitely wounded that woman is. Wounded we are. Chance says Fonnie is suffering, of course, but the way that he lays everything when it comes to his issues at Tish's feet is too much. His momentary anger when she doesn't have the answer he wanted was jarring. Trini Boy says Black men's trauma comes out in a lot of different ways, not just physically or emotionally abusive, but also as codependency. Ooh. Ooh. Speak on it. So I root for them, but I have my worries. I have my concerns, okay? I do have my concerns. Right here, directly in the middle of the movie, we have a larger problem that presents itself. To change the journey we've been on this entire time, and we're back here swaddled in red. Tish's sister sits with her because they found Veronica in Puerto Rico. You weren't supposed to go nowhere, ma'am. But they found her in Puerto Rico. And the problem is now they'll have to pay more money that they don't even have. They've got to pay more money to try to get there, to try to get her to change her story to save Fonnie. There's a bit of hope here, but this is a big problem. And it's not that Veronica just lied. She didn't just lie. Okay, she actually did suffer a sexual assault. It's just that Fonnie was a casualty. Okay, unfortunately. So let's get to the daddies. I don't know if I have enough time to get into my personal feelings for Coleman Domingo, but I want you guys to leave here knowing I belong to him. Give me an old fireman that take control of his family. Come on. I don't want to mother that family or be a part of it in any sort. But Coleman Domingo, sir, please. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you saw me standing him last night because he's also on The Walking Dead. Like when he was in Euphoria, yelling at hard-headed ass Rue. Okay. Tish's and Fonnie's dads work together to make sure they're bringing enough money to help this baby that's coming, right? Let's look at them in the bar. We have Tish's dad in blue. We have Fonnie's dad in yellow brown. We have them green lights above them because they're going to work together to make this family one and make it work. When they get to hustling and stealing and going about their plans, Tish's dad starts stealing. Fonnie's dad doing the drop-offs. Okay. We got that blue van. We got the dad in the yellow leather. What's good? We out here. We're outside. We're getting this money. Okay? We're getting this money. Don't y'all come for my man Coleman Domingo now. Y'all know he mine. I belong to him. He belonged to me. Y'all said y'all ain't like that. Let's talk. Let's talk. We are on two timelines in this film. The starting point where Fonnie is arrested and Tish has to carry out this pregnancy alone, and how the love used to be before all this mess happened, right? So presently, we have Tish, as these problems are coming to a head, she's having these contractions, overlaying these time layers. As these problems increase, we see her contractions increase, and she's in physical pain. Versus the flashback before all this mess, how we first met Officer Bell interrupting Tish and Fonnie's night. And we can see that green background behind Officer Bell because he is a disruption to the life that they're building together. He's blocking that journey and that path for them. And this large photo to the right, this is exactly what Fonnie and we would love to do to the cage that the system built for us. He threw them tomatoes at the wall, left that big old red stain on that cage, on that brick wall. We would love to crack your head to the operators of oppression, to this cage that America built. You put us in this, we would love to crack that head, but we can't. A lot of the times as Black people, we feel so helpless, like we can't do anything to escape this system. And this is all he can do to let his anger out. This is it. So now we're gonna go down to Puerto Rico. We have to go meet Veronica, and Tish's mother goes. She goes to PR to speak to Veronica, to try to get her to just tell the truth. Stop lying. You're costing my son-in-law his life. Dressed in green, representing for the conjoined family, for both Fonnie and Tish. Surrounded by this yellow light because it's the family alliance. And I was wondering why they had her paired in this white setting. And it's because as a woman, as a mother, it's not that she's against Veronica. Veronica's like not the enemy, because we still know the trauma that Veronica went through. So you're not the enemy. I just need to talk to you so you understand my side, because your lie is costing me deeply. So I want to jump into the chat here, knowing what we know. I liked Britt Ellen's comment. Tish's mother is the more cultured adult out of all of the parents. In the book, she was a former singer. The dads are amazing. Love the representation of Black fatherhood. The way they got together and said, we're going to help. The way they started moving, shaking the streets. Woo. Woo. Hey, Barty says, I thought mama was going to cheat. We got bigger fish to fry. Hey, Barty, we got bigger problems to solve. Audience question. I want to see, and we have a big conversation right here. I want to see what y'all think so far. Why do y'all think Veronica's in white? What makes Veronica in white? Knowing what we know. This is just some curiosity that I had while I was watching. Yeah, I thought she was cheating because it was the way she was eyeing the man when looking for the lady. The way she was eyeing the man. That's a spy eye. Not a thought eye. It's a spy eye. She had her wig on, twisted to the back the way Dream Girls did. And she said, we came here for answers and nothing less. Okay. We came here for answers and nothing. Oh, what I'm just noticing too, the color textures between her landing and her meeting Veronica are totally different. We did the yellow and blue again. But I want to focus on why we think Veronica's in white. Oh, Ella, like that answer. LB says she had the ability to be the savior. I like that. I like that. Damara says for fake forgiveness and redemption for herself. Redemption. Whoo. Young royalty, I like that. Little white lies. I like that. You see how much we can pull from the layers of story? Wow. Wow. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. All of it. Ain't no wrong answers in this room. All of it. Yes. Wow. Let's have a deeper conversation. We going it's going to be a banger. Let's have a deeper conversation. Because we're on Fonny's side because we know him, we've spent time with him, we see how soft and sensitive and loving and caring he is. We feel like as an audience, we know Fonny, but something stuck out to me while all these conversations were happening regarding setting him free. And before the mother met Veronica, she met a man in Puerto Rico who said something that stuck out and Veronica repeated it. How do you know Fonny didn't do it? How do you know Fonny isn't capable of doing something like that? And I had to apply it to real life because the conversation is, we say, listen to women. If we hadn't known any of these people, naturally, we'd be on Veronica's side because it's the conversation is listen to women, listen to victims, right? But because we know Fonny, and we love Fonny, we've attached to his character and his story, we're on his side, but isn't questioning how would you know a little right from Veronica and her dad, or whoever that man was, her dad? We may not know an assaulting side of Fonny, and this is kind of how abusers curate their worlds, their mamas, their girlfriends, their friends. They rely on the people who know the soft and nice side of them, but go do dirt somewhere else. Now, thank God for the evidence in this story where he couldn't have been up there and it don't align and it don't make sense. And yes, we're on Fonny's side. But questioning that, these people don't know Fonny. And we're doing this thing where Veronica, she didn't really see who did it. And then you got Officer Bell curating Fonny in front of being the first online to be picked up. Can we talk about that? I like that answer, Khaled. Chan says she's an innocent person caught in the middle. She's caught between calling a cop a liar and possibly getting her assaulter arrested, or dealing with it on her own and getting away from it all. Asia says, I think I think Veronica's dressed in white because she's numb. Britt Ellen says it's all very cloudy for her. She was violated, but is being used as a tool for violence against another. Y'all are seeing the points. That it gets muddy when we do this. It gets muddy in this story when it becomes about the assaulter versus the victim, the power at play, who's conjuring evidence versus what the evidence is. It can get muddy had we not loved Fonny first. Chan says, no, the evidence is what would make me side eye in real life. He wasn't in the area and had alibis. And so strange Daniel didn't talk for him, right? Daniel didn't come up as a witness for him. LB says it's a hard pill to swallow because you want to believe women, but historically, so many white people lied when they got caught with their black boyfriend. Message. CJ says, which is why evidence is a deciding factor, or should be, when remaining unbiased in such cases. And as we can see, racism didn't stay unbiased at all. Racism chose a side quickly. I think in real life, when we have these situations that we don't know the parties, we have these women, when victims come forth, there are women surrounding the assaulters who come in to defend them, like a Felicia Rashad for a Bill Cosby, right? And then it's like, these women are saying it happened, and then hiding behind this shield of evidence. We'll wait for the evidence, when people's intention really isn't to listen to the victims. But sometimes, like you can see in this story, the evidence matters, and it matters a fucking lot. This is life or death, right? And a brown woman was used, but a brown woman did this to a black man. And in this story, Veronica decides, no, I will not help you. I will not go back into this trial. Y'all on your own. And it's over. Fonnie will stay as a suspect to this sexual assault. Oh, Daniel fled because he's traumatized from prison. He's traumatized. He can't even help his friend, because what if he gets caught all up in that again, and then they frame him and he got to go back? That's too heavy. Barry fucking Jenkins, ladies and gentlemen. With this heat, with this smoke, the way Barry Jenkins films black men smoking, my God. Fonnie, white, hot, remembering his freedom, remembering he was just diving into his hobby, into his passion, sculpting this abstract piece. It's heavy, it's dense, it's tall, it's strong. Smoking. And we remember his friend Daniel passing that fear, letting him know what that fear was as they shared that lighter, they shared that cigarette. As he's sculpting this piece made of the violence and the fear that Daniel told him about. He passed that trauma on, where he's actually experiencing it now in jail, and he goes cold. From white hot to icy cold. Look how intimate we are while he's smoking. We're close up on him. Look how far away we are when he's in jail. He has nothing, he has no one. This is what got me. At a certain point, he just went full delusion. And I think my heart broke right about here. Fonnie went full delusion for a second because it just got so heavy and so dark. And he is convinced, and he's trying to convince Tish through this glass, that no matter what happens, he's coming home. Look, I'm gonna make a table. I'm gonna take care of the baby. I'm gonna hold the baby. Everything's gonna be fine. And Tish is trying to deliver the news that, babe, this is getting worse. Veronica is not coming to help you. She's not going to change her story. And your trial date is getting pushed back again for the 50-11th time. I don't know if you're coming out. And in this full delusion, when he's just living in this joy, you see how blurred out this jail background is. He's not even there right now. He's living in the fact that he's diving into Tish's world. He's going to come home to his woman, and he does something that he has never done before. He leaves this moment early. This is the moment he waits for because he cannot stand being in jail. But when he finally has his moment to see his pregnant girlfriend through this glass, he leaves early. That's how convinced he is that this isn't even real. I don't even need this escapism right now in this girlfriend that I love so much. I'm actually going ahead. I'm gonna head out. Broken. Elle says, this was so sad, had to hold on to the hope to keep going. I mean, oof, listen, this was the one. So let me take y'all through a journey real quick before we get out of here. Through this journey, how Tish has her soulmate in that tub, loses her soulmate, drowning in this wound, but gains a son. Travel through the water, travel through the colors. This is tragedy's full circle. The inevitable darkness that happens upon so many Black American experiences. The design of tragedy. This is the full circle. And what's worse, this is how America creates the wound, for it to continue for generations. The system that America creates for generations, because their son has entered the world in this bright white light, clean slate, not knowing anything, to be groomed through a system, to be wounded. This baby starts his journey wounded through this prison system. We have this long exposure shot between the history of Black American imprisonment layered over Tish, present day, allowing her son to visit the dad in prison. They've created a system where this is going to keep going for generations. And Tish says a quote here. She says, we live the life we live. We live the life we've been given so our children can be free. Is that possible? Is that possible? The son is already wounded with this broken home. And you can see the colors right behind him in the bottom right. How we have blue and yellow separated behind him. Look at all these broken families. All of these families are broken, visiting their loved ones in this system. He's just one of the many. Like all the Black men in this prison field, one of many, lining up in this system, doing the work. We see that bare tree in that long exposure shot. This is the root. This is the soil of America. No fruit. Bare branched. No fruit. Until we come to our final shot. How the wound of the world in this system has suffocated their love to the point where it infiltrates their family structure. They have internalized that wound that America had for them. Look how it came out into their son. It's a love that's trapped in the cage that America built. This has been another dissection. That was If Beale Street Could Talk. I am your host, JustLatasha, live with the dissection every Monday night at 6 p.m. EST. Catch me every Thursday for a piece of script series, little biteable size content where I break down just a piece of one of your favorite Black films. And you can follow my sketch comedy series, Just Latasha's Interactions, on both Instagram and Twitter. The show is coming next year. It was supposed to come out this year, but we got so interrupted. So stay up to date with my sketch comedy series at Interactions, INNR Actions. Stay up to date with me on Instagram at JustLatasha, on Twitter at JustLatasha404. I be loving on y'all. Shout out to my patrons who are in the room. We had a good time yesterday dissecting Antebellum. We dragged it together, quite honestly. We just sat there and dragged it together. If you're not a patron, do that right now. Access the exclusive live shows for just $5. If you guys want to come on camera and dissect with me like we did yesterday for the VIP dissection, that'll be the $15 tier. Come on in, let your opinions be heard, join us, have fun twice a month, and we just be having so much fun. Let me see what y'all saying before we get out of here and before we throw some more hearts up in the chat, because y'all know how we do. Britt Ellen says, in the book, it is left uncertain whether he gets out or not, but it seems promising. Yeah, he took a plea deal, meaning he's getting out at some point. We as the audience just didn't know how long that time would be. Young Royalty Production says the cycle of systemic violence and trying to find something positive in it. In a nutshell, we gotta find it. We have to find it. Else is a confirmation that love and happiness should be enjoyed in the moment, as it can be interrupted at any time. Who are you when you're not interrupted? I will never forget that line. Okay, quote from Lovecraft Country. We had a great time dissecting that series. Who are you when you're not interrupted? What great dialogue. Oh my God. Khaled says, do y'all know what the sun writes over and over again? I want to know. Great question. I want to know too. Who in here know that? Elle says, and didn't the baby have on red while visiting him? Wound on the next generation? Absolutely. Absolutely. Chan said, these things are so important to talk about, but my goodness, does it break you down? Britt says the ending was definitely something that Barry Jenkins created to continue the discussion on criminal justice reform. I love it. Y'all have been incredible. Thank you so much for the hearts in the chat. This is a love room. I enjoy each and every moment spent with you. Black and poppin' we is, okay? Another Yoda style quote for you to take on and chew on. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your holiday. No video this Thursday. I'll be back with you guys next Monday, continuing on with this great conversation. I am JustLatasha. I love you all. Hit me in the DMs.